A great matchup of college basketball with two top five teams coming off a pair of losses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slasher U. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Feck, and we're going to break down Kentucky versus Gonzaga, the game of Sunday, if you will. This is going to be a fantastic outing. Kentucky just coming off a tough loss against Michigan State in double overtime, and Gonzaga got the break speed off them against the Texas Longhorns. Both of these teams 2-1. We're going to probably see them both drop out of the top five after this game. But for the foreseeable future, for this moment, Steve, we have number 4 versus number 2. This is going to be a good matchup, though. We're going to see what team rebounds first.
Yeah, and I think on some levels, Calipari and Pugh wish this game was a Friday game and not a Sunday game. So there's less time for their players to dwell on what happened, to both teams. Gonzaga just did not play well. At least with Kentucky, they played a really solid game, and Michigan State just beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And you could even say Tom Izzo beat them. I mean, Tom Izzo played his roster, like a concert violinist. It was a wonderful coaching battle to watch. But Tom Izzo, watching him pace the sidelines, I mean, he's always a little bit excitable, but you can tell he just knew we've got this. I don't think at any point did he feel that this game was going to get away from him. For Kentucky, okay, they got Shishigwe, or however we're pronouncing it this day. Every time I tune into a game, they're pronouncing his last name a different way. So nobody get on me this time, Slasher U fans. I've heard it pronounced a whole bunch of different ways, but we'll call him Victor. We'll take the cheap way out and we'll call him Victor. Him coming back is going to be big. And I think that's going to affect the way that Drew Timme is going to play for Gonzaga. Without him there creating chaos in the paint, I think Timme could kind of have his way, kind of pick and choose how he wants to play. He's going to have to play a little tougher defense. He's going to need to bang the boards with a little bit more authority than he might ordinarily against a team. Let's say that he would play in the West Coast Conference, for example. But this is more of an existential battle in that which team can bounce back stronger in this. I do not expect Gonzaga to struggle as they did against Texas, and I'm not quite sure why they struggled in that game. I watched it. I watched the first half, and they got discouraged. And because I'm old, I had to go to bed. It was past my bedtime. But they got their tails whooped. Where with Kentucky, you could see where Michigan State played all their cards properly. They got every trump, every wild card, whatever analogy you want to use as cards. They all got played properly. So I am going to say that it's going to be Kentucky's going to have the advantage, as far as them. The bruised egos are probably not as deep bruised, but the fact that the game's in Spokane, I mean, that's a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd imagine that we're going to probably go to overtime again.
Ooh.
And my heart's always going to say Gonzaga, but I think Kentucky is going to take a win on the road and maybe salvage hanging around in the top 5, where Gonzaga is going to drop with 2 consecutive losses.
One thing that I will say about Kentucky is that they got a game in between Gonzaga and Michigan State. They played on Thursday night against South Carolina State, and they won by 50. So they really, right there, is that where they got rid of that terrible double overtime loss, and they're not even worried about it now. They're on to the next against Gonzaga, while Gonzaga's still worried about that loss or still thinking about it. That's something that also could benefit Kentucky while they head over to the Pacific Northwest. Oscar Tshiebwe, I mean, he has been a force on the rebounding since he's returned. Hasn't been crazy on the points. He was big at Michigan State. South Carolina State, he didn't play a ton of minutes, but still found a way to get 6 points and 7 rebounds. He is going to, I'm really interested to watch him and Drew Timme. I think that is going to be something to pay attention to. I think that we're going to finally see, I don't know if we're going to see him at 100%, but we're going to see a lot more minutes of Oscar in this one. I'm looking forward to that matchup. That should be really good. That's considered the two of the best bigs in all of college basketball right now, and we are in the year of the big. So really looking forward to that one. Sunday, 7:30 Eastern time. It's not super late, even though it's in Washington, so that's good to hear. We're going to see number 4 Kentucky take on number 2 Gonzaga. Should be a hell of a game.